Greetings, everyone. Greetings and welcome. Today, I want to talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, my thoughts about the story, and just some general things here. Now, Final Fantasy VII, the original, was very special to me. I had played it at a time where it was already cemented in legend. The game had already been out for maybe 4 to 5 years. Final Fantasy VIII was my first Final Fantasy, and I played that on the PC. So I had already been kind of participating in some forums and whatnot, and just kind of heard all the stories. And wow, I didn't know like major spoilers or anything like that, but believe it or not. But I played Final Fantasy VII. I got the greatest hits version on PlayStation 1. Uh, well, I had a PlayStation 2, but it's PlayStation 1 game. So I played Final Fantasy VII on my PlayStation 2. My dad had just got us the console, and I didn't have a memory card yet. I didn't really know you needed one, and I didn't have a memory card for like a couple more weeks after that or whatnot. But I was so excited to play the game that I would pop it in, and I was just captivated by the raid on the reactor, the music, and just Midgar in general. I remember I try to get as far as I can without a memory card, like every day. And I also kept the console on for like as long as I could. I was just so into it, and incredible game. Played it through, and it's very special to me. Very special to me. All these years later, the music, the memories come flooding back occasionally, and I love the game. So I started my channel in the very beginning of 2020. Like late 2019, I was doing some stuff, but 2020, with my main focus being that I wanted to maybe make content for Final Fantasy VII Remake. This is what I was waiting for. It was going to be great. I was so excited that it was coming out. And when it came out, I wanted to just completely shut myself off from the internet. No spoilers, nothing, complete social media blackout, everything. And I wanted to take my time. I was working a lot at the time, but I wanted to take my time, enjoy the game, play through everything, and form an opinion without any kind of influence from the outside, which I did. It took me about a month. And honestly, I didn't like the game. I liked some things about it. The music was incredible, and the combat was good. And really, that's it. Just seeing those characters, seeing Tifa and Cloud and whatnot, just kind of seeing old friends. But what ultimately did it in for me was the story changes, which is what I want to focus on today. Just very briefly. And I should say, too, I'm not a scholar of Final Fantasy VII. I'm not like a historian of like all the lore and everything. Like I'm just a casual fan. I didn't have a lot growing up, but the Final Fantasy games, just the old like Squaresoft games, if I didn't play a lot of those games, I would not be the person that I am today. They had a significant impact on my life, and I hold them in my heart to this day. And so I jotted some notes down here, and honestly, I wasn't sure if I would do this video exactly. I'm gonna go in like no particular order, but for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, it carries on a lot of that stuff. Um, I might just scrap this actually, but so let me just get this out of the way. So this game, the combat's even better. They did a fantastic job with the combat, fantastic job with like the music, like the character design, like all of that is great. But just like the scummy, lazy things, I don't like. Like for example, Vincent and Sid and like not being playable characters, not having Rocket Town in the game, like the way some of that stuff was done, just it didn't sit well with me. So that immediately just was like a huge turnoff. Although my favorite party is just your classic Barrett Cloud Tifa, good balance, everything's great. Vincent, he is okay, fine, whatever. But like Sid was a totally different character. Totally different character, very tame, very like what's it called? Very like clean and safe. That's another thing that Square Enix does is they focus so much on the like the ESG stuff, it seems like, and um Sid, I think just they did a good job. So one thing about the story before I really get into it is certain expansions of the story, like the origin of the black materia. Cool. Expand on stuff where you can expand on stuff, you know? So that whole story with the G and they were undead and they just wanted to escape existence in the planet. I get it. What else did I have? Wu Tai, like the Wu Tai stuff, that's cool, whatever. Not too worried about it. Soldier was a mythical, like, almost this like amazing echelon of like these badasses that you would hear about. But now it just seems like every scrub had been in Soldier or whatever. That kind of took away from it as well. But the main thing for me is that everything in the game is all about bombastic energy and action and just like this spectacle of like show, where some of those tender scenes and beautiful moments are not it takes away from the impact of like Dyne, Aerith's death, obviously, and how you see, if you were going to change the story, right, at least double down. This was my opinion in the first place. So, like, all these images of, like, Tifa maybe dying, um, I know that was to show that Sephiroth kind of had control over Cloud and was maybe putting this stuff in his head, but at least double down and do something different, you know? Have some umph about it. If you're going to change the story, change the story. Don't backpedal, you know, and like do it. There was one statement made, and I'm misquoting, I'm probably misremembering, but the creators of the game, I don't know if it's Nomura or whoever it is, they made a comment, and I apologize if I get this wrong. Please correct me, because I'm misremembering, but they basically made a comment in the media saying that like they really enjoy watching and listening and reading to fan reactions and theories, and they might, like, if they like some of them, they might do it that way. You should never take your thing and like just go with whatever the fans want, you know? Like, tell your story, have some guts about it. um I think with Aerith's death, it was more for me the music that really appealed to like my humanity, I guess you could call it, my emotions, where that's always gonna be a sad scene, no matter what. But that scene was ruined, like with the whispers and with Cloud and like having to tap the um LB and RB, whatever. Like that was stupid. A lot of stuff like that is really stupid and dragged out in my opinion. Um, but the confusion of like multiple storylines. Actually, before I want to get to that, whenever Cloud attacked Tifa as well, in the what was it? Because that whole thing was cool, but it was supposed to happen kind of in Medeal, I guess. But it happened at the Gungaga reactor. So, It was more meaningful whenever Cloud was crippled, Tifa's reflection and everything. Like that was sad, you know, and they were on intimate deal together and she was taking care of him in the original. That was sad. Them doing it like that, it just took away from it. And you know, maybe it is a difficult thing to recreate those moments, and hindsight is 2020, of course, but I really feel like the game, this new trilogy or whatever it's going to be, it would have been 1,000 times better if they just stuck to the roots, expanded on cool shit like the Black Materia and whatnot, like the Wutai War. Fine, do that, you know? But just this whole multiverse thing. It's very confusing when you incorporate time and multiverses in a game, and Final Fantasy VII is not. It doesn't work in this game. Maybe like all the general Final Fantasy worlds are connected, and you could maybe do something with that. Fine, but it works the best in Final Fantasy VIII. If you wanted to do something like that, do it in VIII remake if there ever becomes such a thing. But Final Fantasy VII it's about hope and like overcoming loss and like it's all these things, and now the story has gone in like, you know, 500 different directions, and it really takes away from it in my opinion. And this is just my opinion. This is how I feel. This is just how I feel, you know. I might be wrong, I might be right, whatever, but it doesn't feel good. Um the game is just going to get lost in the time as the years go on, 2024, 2025, etc. Look at how many games are coming out. Look at how many remakes and remasters are happening. Like, are you going to remember this game and like and all these moments, and are you going to remember this, you know, 3, 5, like 10 years from now? Or are you going to remember the original? You're going to remember the original. Unless, and I'm talking from an OG standpoint, I guess. You know, a lot of people, they're playing this game for the first time. That's fine. Great that you got into the series. But is it just not incredibly confusing? Because even if, let's say you played Remake for the first time, or Rebirth as well, like just if you start with this trilogy, it already has this mysticism about it. Generally, most people know like who is Sephiroth and this and that, but everything is about drama and spectacle and like loud, and those tender moments just simply do not exist, or there's very few, they're very few and far between. So that was the main thing really, and then just the whispers, the white and black whispers, then there was good whispers, and there's a multiverse that takes away from it. Zack and Aerith maybe being alive in some other timeline, like I know for a long time people wondered if you could revive Eris somehow, and maybe this could open up the door in it in another game or whatever in the next game. But it takes away from the impact. It just takes away, like everyone is safe, everything's fine. You can just resurrect someone out of another multiverse, and they might be stronger and better because they have more knowledge of events, you know, etc. Um, And I'm sure they're going to come up with something to maybe like, and I'm just speculating here, but they're going to all band together. Zack and Eris from the other world and like other characters, they're all going to band together to stop Sephiroth or like some other villain, you know? So yeah, just like the whole combining timelines thing and Sephiroth, it just, for me, in my opinion, it doesn't work. It takes away from the story, and I simply don't like it. It's just something, it's a game that's, it's above average, and you know, there's some polish there, but it's just wearing the Final Fantasy VII skin in my opinion. The game's a good game, don't get me wrong. I'm just coming at it from how I feel about story changes. So yeah, those tender, beautiful moments just simply don't exist for me. This is a conspiracy theory that I guess I have, and not everybody is like that. I know a couple of creators that are overly critical of Square Enix, and they still get like sponsorships and stuff like that. It's fine. It's healthy. You know, it's healthy to talk about it, what you like, what you don't like, without being attacked. But I feel like most people just kind of, um, they always praise these things, and they're all about it because they want to stay in Square Enix's good graces. I don't know if that's true or not. This is just kind of from the outside looking in. But and then too, from a content creation standpoint, it's like, do you really love this so much? Do you love this product so much that you just genuinely, you just want to make content for it, and just, you just want to crank it out? You're just so motivated to make content for this thing that you love. If that's the case, fine. But for me, even like hating on it, I guess, I don't, there's so much other games to play. There's so much other things to do. You know, I don't like to go out of my way to like hate on a game. And that's why I'm not even sure if I should make this video in the first place. You know, it doesn't matter really. And, um, but the game, as someone who, you know, played the original, was very excited for this. I'm a gamer. Like I would consider myself a gamer. I mean, in my spare time, that's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy games. I enjoy narrative stories, RPGs, and yeah, I was hoping to play this for a really long time. And again, too, there are great things about the game, great things. But I just want to talk about the lack of story. Um, it's just a shell. It's just a shell. And the sad thing for me too, the last point I want to make is the game is quote unquote ruined. I don't want to say ruined, but it's fundamentally misunderstood by the same company, and some of the same team that worked on the original. That's what's sad to me about it. It's like Star Wars, in my opinion, was ruined by the Disney takeover, you know. But it's kind of like if Star Wars was ruined by George Lucas, let's say, or if you know, whoever like ruined their own thing. Nomura and these guys, like, they worked on the game. They should know better. You know what I mean? And I get it. Like, you want to try something new and this and that, and like, if stuff works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But ultimately, in my opinion, they doubled down on the wrong things, and they backpedaled on the wrong things as well. So though, for those reasons, I don't like the story. Um, yeah, and that was my biggest thing. It had too much like loud, bombastic energy, and it was all just a spectacle. Um, it didn't feel the same. It didn't hit as hard. It wasn't as impactful. Um, it's very forgettable in my opinion. It is very forgettable. And I'm sad that I feel this way. I wish I didn't. I might wait a while until they release it, maybe on PC, maybe with some DLCs included, and maybe on discount I'll play through. But this is how I feel about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm sure I missed a lot of things. Maybe we can have a discussion in the comments. That would be great. One of the best videos I ever had on my channel was my rant about Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I guess this is going to be my rant about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Um, that's all I got, my friends. Anything else I want to add? A lot of good things about it, like I said. But yeah, the timeline stuff, Aerith's death, Zack and Aerith in the other timeline. Hmm. Yeah, so wish they would have done more. Wish, like, for example, let's just say too, last point, just randomly thinking here. So it leads to confusion, and it leads to a lot of dead ends, right? Like, so if Aerith was seemingly, if she knew about her own death and stuff like that, if her memories, why didn't she try to Why didn't she try to come up with some other plan while she could, It just leads to a lot of problems that, you could just argue forever about it. What else did I want to say? Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll just add some way to do it next time, but I feel like they should have doubled down and maybe killed someone else permanently, like Tifa, which would have been so sad. Huge Tifa fan here, but it's been said before, like if you're writing a story, so if you're writing a story and in your story, like let's say you have like multiple books, and in your story the maid does the murder with the knife or whatever and hides it, and like if in the media, in the public, if the fans are kind of trying, if they're figuring out your story, if some people had it figured out, just stick with it because that's your story, because it leads to a lot of dead ends if you just try to change it so people can't figure it out. And I get it, maybe that's part of the fun, is trying to theorize, like, oh, I predicted it, or I was able to guess what happened. And yeah, beautiful game, beautiful series. I wish them the best. I hope for the best as always, and it's nice to see everyone enjoying the game. I've enjoyed watching a lot of playthroughs and streams of the game. I listen to like people's thoughts on it and stuff like that. It's a fun hobby of mine. But me personally, as a fan of the original, and just as like a person who doesn't have so much time to like game that much anymore, I really just did not like the story. So that's all I have. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for hanging out with me and sharing your thoughts. Thanks and take care. See you in the next one. Bye.